When did you realize a small problem was actually a matter of life and death? My favorite person at the old apartment complex was Mr. Chen. He was in his 80s, quiet and kind, and he spent nearly all of his waking hours in the community garden out back. His little plot was his entire world. It was overflowing with strange-looking herbs and leafy greens I didn't recognize. He once told me with a little twinkle in his eye that they were for his specialty. I just thought it was a cute, harmless hobby. The problem was the garden existed on a technicality. It was on a plot of land still owned by the family of the building's original developer. One day, a notice was posted on all our doors. The land was being sold. I felt bad for Mr. Chen. I figured he'd be heartbroken to lose his garden. The slightly off thing was the look on his face when he read the notice. It wasn't just sadness or disappointment. It was raw, undiluted panic. It was the look of someone whose lifeline was about to be cut. The buyer, we soon learned, was the developer's estranged son, a slick investment type named Mark who planned to pave over the entire garden for extra tenant parking. Everyone was upset, but legally our hands were tied. I tried to talk to Mr. Chen to see if we could organize a protest or a petition, but he became very withdrawn and just shook his head, begging me to drop it. "It is better to be quiet," he insisted. The real story came out by accident. One afternoon, I saw him stumble on the path back from the garden. He looked pale and unsteady, so I helped him up to his apartment. As I was getting him a glass of water, I saw it on his kitchen table. There was a prescription pill bottle next to a freshly cut bundle of the very same herbs from his garden. I glanced at the label on the bottle. It was for a highly specialized and notoriously expensive medication for a severe heart condition. Later, I looked up the name of the drug and the herbs he was growing. The truth hit me like a physical blow. The herbs were a traditional, potent supplement known to amplify the effects of the heart medication, allowing a patient to take a much smaller, more affordable dose with the same results. He wasn't growing a hobby. He was growing the medicine that was keeping him alive. A few days before the sale was to be finalized, Mark showed up for a final walkthrough. He was arrogant and dismissive, waving off the concerns of the tenants. Mr. Chen was out in his plot, desperately harvesting as much as he could, his hands shaking. Mark strode right up to him. "You've got 24 hours to clear this junk out, old man," he said, kicking at a loose clod of dirt. Mr. Chen just stared at his plants, his face a mask of despair. I couldn't take it. I walked over to Mark. "You should know," I said, my voice low and steady. "Your father personally promised Mr. Chen he could use this land for as long as he lived. He knew exactly what these plants were for." Mark just laughed in my face. "My father was a sentimental old fool. A promise isn't a contract. There's no proof." At that exact moment, Mrs. Jennings, a quiet woman from 3B who I knew was a retired lawyer, stepped forward, holding her phone. "Actually, there is," she said calmly. "I was his father's estate lawyer for 20 years. The promise is stipulated in a personal letter which is legally binding as a codicil to his will. The use of this plot is a life estate. If you violate it, you forfeit your entire inheritance." Mark's smug expression dissolved. His face went chalk white as he stared from Mrs. Jennings, to me, and then to Mr. Chen, who was still silently clutching a handful of his life-saving herbs. Mark withdrew the offer to buy the land the very next day. The community garden is now protected by a land trust, and the entrance has a small, bronze plaque that reads, "The Chen Family Garden," funded by an anonymous donation from Mrs. Jennings.